Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. On today's video, I will go over my opinion on these two fabulous speakers, Focal Maestro Evo and Magico S7. What do I think about each speaker? Well, stay tuned and find out. Well, guys, you know the drill. Before I get started, subscribe, hit that like button, turn on your notifications so that you are aware each time I release a new video. First and foremost, let me start by saying that this is my opinion on two speakers that belong to me. Okay? I want to make sure I get that out the way so there's no confusion here with what I'm about to say. If what you want to know, are they good speakers, and you only have 5 seconds to watch this video, they're excellent speakers. For those of you who want to know more, stay put and let me go over what each speaker does and does not do. Guys, you have seen some of the best speakers in my room. You have seen Magico M6, Magico M3, Wilson Audio XLF, Wilson Audio Alex, Focal Scala, and many other speakers that I can think of right now. Today I have the pleasure to talk about two speakers that are very close in price. I have the Focal Maestro for $76,000 with the isoacoustic footers that are approximately $1,600. And I have the Magico S7 that MSRPs for $76,300 plus amp pods, which are $9,000. Both speakers are, in my opinion, some of the best speakers I have had in my room. And one of the reasons why I say that is because I have tried speakers that are very, very large, such as the Wilson Audio XLF, and I have tried speakers that are much, much smaller, like the Wilson Audio Sasha DAWs. I believe this speaker size, approximately 53 to 54 inches tall, is the perfect size for my room. My room has about 9-foot tall ceilings. I like speakers of this size for my room. I find that the speakers disappear better into the room. That does not mean that the previous speakers that I've had here in the past did not do that. But I think these speakers, this size, to me, spread the sound better into the room, if that makes sense. I really feel in my heart that if you are looking to buy a speaker that is well suited for your room, the size factor needs to be considered. You can't go out there doing what I do, the madness that I present to you guys, which is to stuff huge speakers in my room and see where the cards may fall. When it comes to selecting your speaker, it is very important that you understand your room, the challenges that your room has. Do you have open sides? Do you have an open floor plan? Do you have a living room? Is this a family room? Do you have a lot of furniture? Is your room treated? Do you have a lot of glass around the room? It is very important to select the right speaker for your room. Let me get started with the Focal Maestro. First of all, the Focal Maestro Evo is absolutely one of the best looking speakers I have ever owned. As a matter of fact, my wife has gone on record to say Focal is indeed, in her opinion, the best looking speaker that has been through my room. I cannot argue that because I think it is, of course, subjective. Every person has an opinion. But what I can tell you is that I can agree that the French are doing beautiful things with Focal. If you look around the speaker, take a look at the gorgeousness. Take a look at how beautiful the lines flow. It's just European flavor. What can I say? I mean, the Europeans have this way of designing everything that they put their hands on. It's just so good looking. And Focal is no exception. Now, of course, my channel isn't simply about looks. The sound needs to come with looks. And Focal is excellent at the following things. Number one, it's got a huge soundstage. This speaker right here, okay, you can place it into the room and the sound travels here, 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 behind it, and very deep between the speakers. The soundstage is enormous, assuming that you have the proper amplification for the speaker. Number two, the adjustability of the speaker. As you can see right now on your screen, you have different adjustments. If the tweeter is too hot for your liking, take it back a couple of notches. If your mid-range is lacking, you can boost it up a little bit. If your bass is either anemic or too much, you can make whatever adjustment you want. So the flexibility of this speaker is phenomenal. Number three, efficiency. This speaker is over 90 dBs efficient. This means that you can power this speaker with just about any amplifier. Now, I didn't say every amplifier out there. In this case, I am using the amplifier that you see on your screen, Boulder 3060, with an MSRP of $142,000, 900 watts pure Class A. This amplifier can certainly drive any speaker you connect to it. The efficiency of this speaker makes this Boulder amplifier work very little. It barely gets warm to the touch. It is just effortless. Now, if you have read the review on the Focal Maestro, even the previous generation, you will know that this speaker has a very difficult load on the partnering amplifier. So it is very crucial that you put quality watts in as much power as you can buy. Because when you put amplifiers that are not powerful enough, you can hear the lack of control. You can hear the inability for the speakers to gallop, okay? I've noticed that with different amplifiers that I've had here that you guys have not seen. It is very important that you do not overlook at the amplification. This is part of the reason why they had that Focal Maestro Evo at Expona recently connected to the name statement monos, which are, I think it's $100,000 per mono, and they have a ton of power because this speaker completely swells up in every direction when you have the right amplification, okay? So if you're considering this speaker, you cannot overlook the importance of amplifiers. Number four, another pro of this speaker. One of the greatest attributes of this speaker is the disappearing act. It does a Houdini act on you. I remember the first time I threw the speaker into the room without even properly positioning the speaker. I felt like I didn't hear cabinet, I didn't hear the speaker, all I heard was music. I do not know what Focal is doing with this particular design, but I can tell you, for me, it has never made me look in the direction in which the speaker is placed. Another pro of this speaker is the ability for this speaker to actually work in a relatively narrow room. It is actually very impressive how it can still disappear in the room and not necessarily need a ton of space between the speaker and the sidewalls. So if you have a space where you do not have a lot of width and the speakers need to be closer together and you do not want to miss on the soundstage reproduction, this speaker works quite well in my opinion for that environment. And by the way, that is not something that I can say about every single speaker I have owned. Some speakers need a lot more space between them to create the illusion of a larger venue. So kudos to Focal for accomplishing something that I think is very difficult to achieve with loudspeakers. Another pro of the Focal Maestro is musicality. You heard it from me. Focal is always accused of being very bright, in your face, lacking musicality. Well, I am here to disagree with those of you who are saying that, who are spreading those rumors. You couldn't be more wrong than that. This speaker absolutely surrounds you with a magical presentation. Very magical, very engaging, very, very composed. But again, it's not going to be able to pull off tricks with subpar electronics. The electronics need to be at a very high level. I don't find it difficult to work with. I think the placement of the speaker is very easy. You don't have to struggle too much. Okay, now that I got done with the Focal Maestro, let me talk about this bad boy here, Magico S7. You guys have seen 5 pairs of Magico in my room. I am very clear on what the brand brings to the table. I know exactly what they do and they do not do. And before I get started with the pros of the Magico S7, let me just say to you that when I had the Magico M6, I don't feel I had the right electronics for that speaker. I didn't have the Boulder 3060. I didn't have a Select 2, although I did have a great MSB reference DAC, but I didn't have everything that I have today. So the S7 essentially has been completely set up for success when it comes to the electronics that I have put behind it. So if you're trying to create a narrative out there that I think the S7 is better than the M6, I'm gonna stop you right now. That is not the case, and that is not what I'm about to say. So if you're gonna start chatting, so if you're gonna start posting on forums, let me make sure I am clear on that, okay? The M6 did not have the level of electronics that I have here today. And unfortunately that happens. First pro of the S7, bass. And look at that. First one that I talk about is the bass. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, the Magico S7 has the best bass I have ever had in my room, period. No speaker in my room has given me the impact, the crushing dynamics that this speaker has, okay? I can sit anywhere in the room and the bass comes out to find me, regardless of where I am. There are times in which I think I have my REL Predator 1508 subwoofers turned on. I mean, that is how incredible the bass is with this Magico S7. I don't recall the M6 having that level of bass, but as I pointed out earlier, I didn't have this level of electronics. Number 2, resolution. The resolution of the Magico S7, in my opinion, is astonishing. It makes me feel at times, quite frankly, I'm hearing the facts. If I hate it, I'm no longer looking at the speaker and pointing fingers at the speaker. If I hate what I'm hearing, I'm looking at my cables, I'm looking at my amplifiers, I am looking at my shelves, my whatever it is, footers, you name it. I am not anymore zooming in on the speaker. The speaker is simply conveying and telling me what it is that I'm doing behind it. Number 3. Okay. I would say this speaker is the closest that I have ever heard to a panel design. The speaker is so coherent. It reminds me a lot of Martin Logan speakers. It reminds me a lot of that coherency, that uniformity, that feeling that everything is complete top to bottom, that only panels, real panels can give you. There are times in which I can move the speaker just a little bit, just a tiny bit, and the change in the presentation is just massive, guys. Although yes, every speaker is going to change its presentation when you tow them in or tow them out, and I understand that, I get that. I don't think I have heard anything like the S7 when it comes to the drastic, the enormous change in the presentation when you shift that speaker just slightly. The next one is construction. Yep. The construction of the Magico S7 to me feels so premium. It feels as if it was built by John Deere, the tractor manufacturer that you see on your screen. It feels as if it was just built to last forever. As a matter of fact, every time I bump into it, I end up with a bruise. I mean, the Magico S7 is absolutely incredible to look at. I love that orange color that you are seeing on your screen right now. It is just gorgeous, guys, okay? It is one of the best looking paint finishes I have ever seen in person. And then the last pro of the Magico S7 is honesty. It is a very honest speaker. It's just not gonna lie to you. It will tell you the truth all the time. And if you are a person who has thin skin, I'm not sure I would recommend the speaker for you, but I'm gonna get into that further into the video. Okay guys, you have heard the pros of the Focal Maestro Evo and the Magico S7. But I know you guys are probably asking yourselves, Jay, what's not so good about them? Tell us, because it can't be just perfect every time. There's gotta be something off with the speaker, something that's just not doing for you. What is it? We wanna know. Well, I am definitely going to tell you, because as you know, that's what my channel is about, telling it like it is. So let's get started with the cons of the Focal Maestro.